Greetings, brothers and sisters. Glad to be here. Glad to be with you. It's been a long time. Glad to be here with you. Glad to be talking with you. It's important. My eyes are burning. I guess I got to go and get my glasses. But just one moment and I'll be back. I want to talk about some things. We lost Jesse Powell today. Jesse Powell died at 50 years of age. So it looks like they're getting out of here. But just excuse me one moment. I'm going to get my glasses. I'll be right back.
Someday we'll all be sure to be free.
All right, that's much better. Much better. Get a chance to talk to you and us to talk and discuss what we're facing today. Talk and discuss what we're facing. It's been a long day, brothers and sisters. Quite long. Nonetheless, we're ready to have this discussion about T.D. Jakes, just another black distraction. And while people are passing around us, we got to be steadfast and unmovable. I want to apologize to you for not shaving, brothers and sisters. I didn't get a chance to shave the last hour, so as you can say or see, you got another shadow. I want to apologize to you for that because I've been trained better. Got to get the time down to make sure that this is not so much of a recurring action. So get all this stuff together. So we got a little work to do. I got a little work to do in that way. It's a little bit of work. So nonetheless, I'm thankful. So thankful that we have this time. You and I have this time together. I want to say peace be unto you. And certainly, you can certainly say that. Peace. Peace be unto you, and I dare say unto us all. We have work to do. Certainly have work to do. Assalamu alaikum. So we certainly have work to do. I'm just going to be committed. I think I'm going to do that. I'll just be committed. And more committed than I've been before in the past. So much more committed because we certainly need these shows, and we need to be talking about serious incidents that come up. Again, we've had the death of Jesse Powell, and look like people are just dying left and right. No matter where you turn, people are dying. Left and right, people are dying. So we've got to step up the tempo, so to speak, as we organize ourselves, brothers and sisters. It's going to take some strong organization for us to pull the black community out of the slump that we're in. And I say that because we're finding not only in the nationalist community, but also in the Christian church. And we can't afford. We can't afford to hold back our rally and our rally cry for black people to wake up, right? Not like the world says, right? The world says she woke. They're not woke. They're not woke, but they sleep in a dangerous hour. Because if they were awake, or if they were woke, then we'd be in black communities already overnight. And that's my desire, my prayer, that we will get into black communities. We've got to get into black communities. Us. Excuse me, brothers and sisters, it's been a long day. Such a long day. And we got to get more organized, and we've got to mobilize. Seek organization for mobilization, right? So that you and I, no matter what the situation, are able to move and bring about a change in the areas that haven't had change for some time. And God is calling you and I to bring about that change. So change we got to be ready for. It won't happen with us leaning and depending on any preacher, any minister. We have to lean on God and God alone. God and God alone will help us come out of the situation that we're in. You have to have God. God will help us come out of this situation. He and He alone will help us come out of this. But we've got to get in touch with God, and that God, the God of our forefathers, the God within us, we've got to get in touch with Him. And the only way that we can get in touch with Him is to meditate and concentrate on the God factor in us. So what we're praying for and what we're asking, that God would allow it to be so. Brothers and sisters, if we pray and ask, God will allow it to be so. If we pray and ask Him for it. So we have a job to do. We got to bring the people together and teach them how to meditate and concentrate on the blessings of God, because we have so many false prophets around. Keep you docile. Keep you looking to the sky for some white Jesus to come save you. I already told you. If they tell you, well, I saw Jesus over here, don't go, brothers and sisters, because Jesus is not over there. They say, I saw him over here, don't you go. When He come, all eyes shall see them. What does that mean? That means that when we see Him, when we meet our end, we shall wait with Him. Right? It says every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess. Isn't that right? So you ain't got to go searching for Jesus. Is that right or wrong? You don't have to go searching for Jesus, brothers and sisters. But Jesus is already within you. Right? He's already the part of worship, right, that you and I experience when we're meditating with one another. Right? And why am I explaining Jesus? Excuse me. I'm explaining Jesus because I want you to have an idea of the true prophet and false prophets. We have a lot of false prophets around. And I just want to tell you about these false prophets that you and I are experiencing, such as T.D. Jakes. One of the leading black false prophets is T.D. Jakes. One of them. One of the leading black prophets. T.D. Jakes. And he is just another black distraction. You have to know that. I mean, it's a regular circus going on in his area. A regular circus. And it's a shame. It's such a shame that all of these false prophets, false leaders, you'll see mountainous people there waiting on the word in fear, waiting on a word nonetheless for these leaders to give them on how to stand up for themselves in this dark, cold, and evil world. Is that right? Waiting on them. And that's where the white man gets you. Because, and this is one of the reasons I like black nationalism. Because it's plain to see when a white man has set out a black agent. It's plain. Because you see them, these agents, going against liberation. black people that'll speak for democracy when they see that democracy is only hypocrisy, that the white man is killing us. I'm not going to hold you long on TD Jakes because it's sickening to even talk about it. And it's going to be short. This is going to be short. But what I want you to know is that he's another person, another pawn in the game of the white man. The white man put him there, right, to catch up the black Christian nationalists. Those in the black Christian churches, they know are about to explode. The white man find somebody like TD Jakes, put in the way. And you look at TD Jakes. All you got to do is look at him. All you got to do is look at him. And you know within your heart. Yeah, you know. You know a coon when you see one and a sellout. All you got to do is listen to the stuff that he says. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. He used all of these cliches. And these cliches are funny because it sounds like wisdom until you keep listening to it. Then you realize that this nut is probably reading off some paper or something. It's not coming from his heart. And his religion is not coming from his heart. And his salvation is not coming from his heart. He was good when he started, right? He was good. Why? Excuse me, brothers and sisters. He was good because you thought he was saying something to speak to your heart and soul. But see, what they do in these mega churches is they get these statistics. And they have to find out from statistics what people would like and what they wouldn't like. Right? You got to know it. If you don't, shame on me for not telling you. And they do these statistics and say, yeah, they'll like this. Then they try it out. Wednesday night Bible study. People like it. And so they'll try it out during service. He'll tell you, you don't want to miss service. We're going to have a great service. And he'll repeat what he said in Bible study, right, that Wednesday night for what his service on that Sunday. And man, people leave there and said, man, we had a great service. And the preacher just preached this morning. And somebody said what he said. I don't know what he said, but he preached this morning. Because you get caught up in all these shenanigans. All these shenanigans. And these guys leave, go home. You the last thing they're thinking about when they lay down, and the last thing they're thinking about when they wake up. Except on Sunday mornings. Don't be late to give your money. Don't be late. Sunday morning, he's hallowed for that. It's not even the Sabbath. Saturday is the Sabbath. Is that right or wrong? And so we have to be wise. We have to be wise. The white man is attacking you all around. What I'm trying to get you to see, right? And what you can tell with your intelligent mind is that the white man got agents everywhere. Literally has agents everywhere. Everywhere. And brothers and sisters, we got to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. I'm sure you would agree. I'm sure you would agree. Because when you finish teaching the knowledge at the Muslim temple, then you got to go inside of the Christian church and teach the same knowledge. You got to. You got to. That's the design. Thank you. That's the design. You have to go and teach the same knowledge in the Christian church that you sing or say at the Muslim temple. You got to do it. That you got to do it. If you don't do that, then you might as well wash your hand of the whole work. Because a good Christian is a good Muslim, and a good Muslim is a good Christian. And in the black community, we just look foolish separating ourselves, Christian from Muslim, Christian from Jehovah's Witness, Christian from Baha'i Faith, Christian from Hebrew Israelite, Christian from Mauricelm-Lei Templar. We look crazy separating ourselves, not necessarily in the institution. In the institution, you could be separate. But what I'm saying is, at some point, we have to come together, right, and teach true teaching. But if we're going to do that, we got to make sure that the men or women, because they got women over you now, and they have women over you now, and they have LGBT over you, right? Now, of course, I'm talking about traditional people. Once we got righteous traditional people over us, then we have to come together, brothers and sisters, put out the knowledge, and then we have to visit each other's area. I'm talking about traditional, religious, and social teaching. We go to each other's areas and edify and educate us. Now, I'm not leaving out the political person, right? Right? Because you got some black LGBT. I know you don't want to hear me say it, but we got to figure out some way. We got to figure out some way to reach these brothers and sisters, right? Got to find out some way to reach them and be able to educate them. Isn't that right? And re-spiritualize them, because right now they've been demonized. We got to spiritualize them and bring them back to the truth. We got to bring them black to the truth, and we got to bring them back to the truth. I hope you can appreciate that. And so black people need the truth, brothers and sisters. They have to see it within us. They have to see it within us. What I'm saying is the white man, when he's in his church, he got allies, right? He got allies. He going to use everybody white that he can find. It's only the black ministers that won't create allies amongst ourselves. And T.D. Jakes is one of these people. He'll have to run the show. He'll have to run the show. We got to have allies that we can depend on. That's what you and I have to have. Allies that we can depend on, brothers and sisters. If we don't have the allies, then we're at a loss. We don't have the allies, it's going to be a rough survival. Not to say that you can't survive, but it's going to be rough. So we've got to build up our foundations to come together. And we have to find leaders after God's own heart. Isn't that right? Well, T.D. Jakes is not after God's heart, brothers and sisters. He's teaching whatever the white man want him to teach. He do what he want to do, say what he want to say, right? He's the Adams family, right? He's the Adams family. He's going to do whatever the white man want him to do, right? In order to keep people stifled within the church. If you look, he has a mega church, and Joel Osteen has a mega church too. And Joel Osteen is nothing but a devil. Oh, yes, he is. Oh, yes, he is. He's nothing but a devil. The people were in the flood, right? Texas was flooding out. He wouldn't even let the people stay in the church. He wouldn't even let them stay in the church. He would not open up his church as a way station. You don't hear me, right? T.D. Jakes spiritually won't open up his church as a spiritual way station, right? Why is that? Because his whole motive is money. That's his motive. And the true truth of the matter is that they don't want to derail what they're having to do or what they must do, because there's a certain amount of money they're expected to put in their bank account. And they have to be able to make over and beyond. The less people you got, the less money. The less employed people you got, the less money. That's how it goes. You remember when T.D. Jakes used to walk on the pulpit, he had a shirt on and a tie, right? You remember that. Shirt and tie on, looking respectable. Had the little cartoon of him holding the Bible in his hand and show up in the corner, right? Right? We have to study to show ourselves approved unto God, brothers and sisters. But then, next thing you know, he had his shirt open, buttoned down like he was in the 70s, right? Had on these tennis shoes. He was so big that the tennis shoes looked like booties. His shirt all unbuttoned with a blazer on, right? Unseemly. When you see a minister, brothers and sisters, a real one, you want to see him dressed. You want to see that brother dressed, right? Because it's symbolic. All of that is symbolic. But I'm trying to tell you that the white man is getting us away from our habitat. Our normal rituals, the white man is getting us away from that. So if you look, it used to be that you could get in the pulpit, you had a shirt and tie on and all that. Now they're walking in the pulpit with t-shirts. Eddie Long started doing it too. Started walking in with t-shirts. You know what I'm saying? And then he went back to wearing the shirt and tie, which we're thankful for that. Right? Because he began to see the effects it was having on people, the laxity. And he talked about it. You have to respect the man that talk about himself. And he talked about it. But brothers and sisters, what you and I have to do, we've got to get to the place where we expect structure within the church. Right? We got to have structure. And that structure come down from the top level to the bottom level. The structure does. The top level to the bottom level, brothers and sisters. You won't have structure. Not something that's just going to happen. You got to organize it. You got to make structure. Not just going to happen. You got to make it. You got to organize it, and you got to make it. And so this is one of the things we're being called out to do. If you look at the churches today, the traditional churches have structure, but they got all of these other kind of churches out there, right? We talked about it. With no social structure, with no religious structure. We talked about all of these other places. They got no structure. They're meeting, but they don't have the structure. We got to have structure in the church and structure in the black community. If we're going to make it anywhere, we're going to make it with structure. Why do I bring up T.D. Jakes? Because I know he's another black distraction. Add it up. Add it up. What significant thing has he done? When they show him going over to Africa. Here you are going over to Africa talking about people over there. Just another distraction. When we got black people over here that need help, you'll leave Texas, a state bubbling, literally bubbling with people in poverty, and you'll fly all the way to Africa. I just don't get it. Maybe you can help me understand it because I just don't get it. All the way over in Africa, right, where the white man got the black man got the land to live from, right, and he's making do. That's what we should be doing here. We should be making do. As a matter of fact, he should be teaching us how to make do. He should have those kind of classes inside of his potter's house, right? He should be teaching us how to make do. Because that's what's going to save you and I, brothers and sisters. But we can't have any fake and phonies in front of us, keeping our people unprepared. We're in war, brothers and sisters. We are at war. And our brothers and sisters have to be prepared. We need leaders who love the people more than they love money. Is that right or wrong? And T.D. Jakes had received from Tyler Perry, I believe it was $1 million for Tyler Perry to lay hands on him. Tyler Perry laid hands on T.D. Jakes for $1 million. And I wonder why he was laying hands on him. I mean, I have to ask. That's totally out of place. I mean, it ain't no telling what sick game was going on, what they were playing. You got to concentrate so you can see it, brothers and sisters. I'm not causing trouble, not wreaking havoc, but I'm just thinking about this. And all of us are thinkers. All of us are thinkers. And we should just think about it. What was he doing? Laying hands on T.D. Jakes. Here this foul sinner, right, quote unquote, is laying hands on a supposedly holy man. Right? I mean, it's supposed to be, but here this sinner is laying hands on him. It is a mockery of everything that black people have understood in the institution of spirituality and in the institution of religion. It is total mockery. Brothers and sisters, don't forget to like, subscribe, and thumbs up. Please. We can certainly use your participation. And comment section, feel free to make any comment to help me teach this. But It is amazing what we will let slip by us, right? We'll let it slip by us. I don't know why. I really don't. I don't know why. We will connect, we will stick like glue, and we will follow these leaders that don't mean the black community any good, but we'll follow them. Oh, yes, we will. We'll follow them right on from the front door straight to the hog pen. We'll follow them. Right? How do you think Jim Jones killed all those people? How do you think he killed all those people? The people followed this man and worshiped him. Followed him and worshiped him. They worshiped him like he was Jesus. Why? Because this narrative of white Jesus being pushed. And that's what T.D. Jakes is doing. Pushing the narrative of a white Jesus going over to Africa, and they're funding him to do it. The white man is funding him to do it. And I want you to understand. Not that I have to explain this, but I think you already understand it. But when I say white man, I mean the one that's working within the white system of racism. Right? I'm talking about that white man. Now, it's just like the million bees or the snakes in the snake pit. There are so many white people committed to working against black liberation till I have to put them all in the same bag and all in the same boat. Have to. You have to. We got to put them all in the same bag or same boat. If they mean you any good, they'll know that you're on the track just to save your people. And they'll be understanding because after all, it was a white man that put you in slavery, wasn't it? It's a white man that brought you over here, right? But then again, some of y'all came on the Pinta, the Santa Maria, and the Mayflower, right? Maybe the white man has told you too often that they were never cruise ships. Not slave ship, but cruise ship that brought you from Africa all the way here. Isn't that right? Excuse me, brothers and sisters. But those with the mind open, they already know. Like I know that the white man is manipulating black religion with black religious leaders who has mislead you to give the white man an advantage. Now, I know it don't make any sense. I understand that. But I'm saying that this is what they'll do. Yes, if they do it to us, they'll do it to them too. Isn't that right? If the black boule, these copions, turnouts, backstabbers, black nicks, black chocolate covered crackers, isn't that right? If they'll turn on us, right? The white man's going to turn on them too. Yeah, he's going to turn on them. The hour just hasn't come yet. You remember Jesus said, "This is not my hour." That's what he was talking about. The hour in which he will be betrayed. It's shameful, brothers and sisters. It's shameful. I want you to know that Judas betrayed Caesar. Or rather, Brutus betrayed Caesar. Judas betrayed Jesus, right? Peter denied him. Isn't that right? The other disciples turned their backs on him and went into hiding. Isn't that right? Why is that, brothers and sisters? Why is that? Why do we follow these copions and then our real leaders, we forsake them? I don't understand. I really don't. I really don't understand because it makes no sense. But the white man, back on the subject, is not going to put anybody over you that he don't control. And all you got to do is look at T.D. Jakes. You know the white man control him and all these people ain't going to see him. He got white people in his congregation. This is crazy. White people in his congregation, so he have to speak a mealy-mouth message. Because ain't nothing to him. He ain't nothing but a chump. That's what he is. He's a religious chump. And he had to speak this mealy-mouth message. Yeah, he ain't saying nothing. He ain't saying nothing but his mealy-mouth. Right? You know where they get that from, right? Well, I don't mind telling you, it's old slave term. They put something in a horse's mouth and it'll look like it's making milk. Be Millie, right? Yeah, be white. The horse keep chewing it like the oats. He keep chewing it, and it keep turning, right? So we have to understand that when a black leader is in front of us and he's not speaking nationalism, all you need to do is understand that the white man owns it. Yeah, that's all you got to do. And so you already know you can listen to him, but you know that he ain't gonna really do anything for the black community. Not one thing. Not one thing for the black community. And I guess it'll have to be all right because we know that we're not going to get any work out of him. He's not going to do anything for us. So it'll have to be all right. I guess it will. It'll have to be all right. Now, I wish it wasn't all right with us. But many of us, we don't care to check and chart our leaders. And in this day and time, brothers and sisters, it has to be more than just the leader being black. We have to require something of their leader. They got to be willing to go to certain lengths. And you shouldn't have to prod them to go to these lengths. They should be willing to go to these lengths for the people and for themselves. Because tomorrow is not promised. Right? When Jesus was saying that, he was saying that because the Jews were out to kill him. You don't want to hear that, do you? So I'm saying, you got to get in Bible study. You just been missing this because you ain't been in Bible study. Get in Bible study and learn the truth. And the truth, once you learn the truth, it will set you free. The truth will, it won't set you free. The truth will make you free. Make you free here in your mind. Because we got a lot of work to do on this plantation before we're set free. But when we are set free, it'll be because of our own hands, right? Our own eyes, our own sense of touch, our own sense of smell, our own sense of taste. And when we're ready to hear, smell, touch, see, and taste freedom, then we'll be free. But we'll never just get it. We'll never just get it. You see? And did you know, and this is just a fun fact here. Can I tell you a fun fact? Here's a fun fact. Did you know the lady that was involved in the killing of Dr. Khalid Muhammad, along with Hashim Mzinga, and also Malik Zulu Shabazz, came out of T.D. Jakes' church? That young lady came out of T.D. Jakes' church. Did you know that? I just thought I'd tell you. Thought I'd tell you in case you didn't know. Come right out of there. What was her name? Ambush. I believe that was her name. Came right out of there. No one said anything about it. And they believed that this wasn't her real name, but it was a stage name. You know how Beyonce has Sasha Fierce? Personality trait. It normally happens when someone is full of ego, right? In order to do a job, right? So she was involved. She was the one eating a meal with Dr. Khalid. And they were spending time together, his wife, his new wife. They were spending time together when his demise came. Now, why was this young lady never questioned? She was the closest thing to him. She come right out of T.D. Jakes' church. Right out of his church. There's no telling what's going on. Right? T.D. Jakes and very few people can get on a plane at this late date and fly international airlines. When it's considered not safe for us, not safe for the country itself, but they themselves can get on airplanes, right, and leave out of country when senators don't even haven't had the permission yet. I'm just saying, brothers and sisters, we got to use our head. And he walk around here. Are you the one that bring the pen to pop the balloon at every picnic? All this foolish stuff. Hadn't really said one iota about God unless it's through the offering plate. how God's going to bless you if you give. Brothers and sisters, don't be fooled by this rhetoric, satanic rhetoric that will keep you and I with our hands out rather than our hands up. Keep us with our hands out. Our hands need to be up and closed to contain what we have, to pull it in our community, our own resource. Our community, our resource. And we are being called out to do just that, brothers and sisters. You and I are being called out to do the will of God, right, which is before us, and we are called to work in the day. Called to work while it's day, for the night cometh when no man can work. Brothers and sisters, don't you know that it is almost midnight? Not only is it almost midnight in the physical sense, but it's almost midnight in a physical sense. It's almost midnight in the psychological order. Literally, our minds are turned toward every dark and evil thought. I'm using midnight as a metaphor, right? It's a time when it is so dark that you can hardly see which way to turn. Brothers and sisters, we can hardly see which way to turn in this midnight. It's so dark psychologically, socially, spiritually, and otherwise that we can hardly see our hands before our faces. So it's dark physically, and it's dark spiritually, and it's dark mentally, and it's dark psychologically. And I'm sure you would agree. And if we don't have something to sustain our children, that's our job. That's mine and your job. We have to have something to sustain our children, brothers and sisters. What will we do? If the virtual systems fail, what will we do? What will we teach? What will we teach? How will we act? Right? In a system of our own. When the children of Egypt, and understand, before Moses came along, they had false prophets. False prophets. And that's my contention today. That T.D. Jakes is another false prophet. If he would do what God has told him to do with the amount of people and following God gave him, he'd bring the black man out of bondage. You don't need politics to bring the black man out of bondage. You don't need sociology to bring it out. You don't need psychology to bring it out, but you do need theology to bring it out. And that theology, the theology of time, my God, that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad had written, had the instructions in there, brothers and sisters. You know I'm right about it. The instructions to our very salvation, the blueprint to our separation and our liberation. And we passed it up, trusting in leaders that have been planted in front of us by the white man. Whereas we would have gotten liberation at a jet-like speed, now we can hardly get celebration at the rate of a horse and buggy, because we don't have anything to celebrate. The white man celebrates. He has all of these opportunities that he celebrates from. All of the opportunities out there. He does it. Right? Every commemoration he has, every commemoration, he celebrates it. But those commemorations are against you and I. And then he gets black leaders to reinforce that celebration. You look at T.D. Jakes. He doesn't teach the sound word of God. He doesn't teach doctrine. He doesn't teach edification of the community. He doesn't teach black nationalism. And this is why they moved to the mega churches. That's why I'm trying to tell you. And he's the foremost known mega church leader. It used to be Paul Morton, but now it's T.D. Jakes. right? And you got to understand the politics of it, right? So understand the politics. The white man would get Paul Morton in there, and they knew all his secrets, right? Paul Morton said, look, I'm not going to go. So they destroyed him. You don't hear nothing else about Paul Morton. Nothing in the world. They literally took the cameras off of him and put him on TD Jakes. And TD would do anything, they say. He would do anything in the world the white man says. You can't, the white man ain't even got to say it. All he can do is think it, and TD is already moving on it. He's already moving on it. And I don't know what the TD stand for. I don't know what the TD stand for, but I know I have another acronym for it. Turd dunker. Oh yes, he's a turd dunker. And Reverend Turd Dunker will do whatever the white man wants. Whatever he wants, the turd dunker is doing it before the white man can even get it out. Boss, I know what you think. You know I'm right. You know I'm right. Boss, I know what you're thinking. I already got it on the back burner, boss. Right? Because he's so happy. He's so happy. Now, all of these people that's going to his church are working class people that are making him a multimillionaire. That's what the church is. His church, if you've ever been there, is such a big place. There's no way that you can know all those people in there. But every person that put money in the basket, he'll stand at the back door and shake their hand as it goes out. I mean, it is such a game. Such a game. He ain't giving them no message, no nothing. All you got to do is look on the shows. Just look on it. Just take time and look on his show. Right? Yeah, I'm gonna put a stream in there. Should put something in there so you can see it. Let me see if I can pull something up. Need to pull something up so you can see it. All I got to do is type it in there so you can see it. We'll put in TD Jakes sermons, and I'm gonna leave them down there to you. Now I want you to listen with the eye, with a microscopic eye and a sensitive eye. You got to look at it that way. Don't just don't take what he says in face value. Just listen to it. I want you to listen to it. And these are going to be his sermons from 2022. But I want you to just listen. And after you finish, look at him. He looks absolutely sociopathic and narcissistic. Absolutely. What I want to do is, brothers and sisters, I want to bring this up so you'll have it. And you know they got him wearing these little skinny suits. Now, be whatever it may, or be that as it may, individual can wear whatever they want. Be it far from me, for them to not wear what they want. But all I'm saying is, and I want you to understand this, right? I want you to understand it. All I'm saying is, when you get to a certain size, you shouldn't be wearing nothing skinny, right? You know they making straight leg pants and all of that. I understand it. I understand they're making straight leg pants. I get it. All I'm saying is, when you get to a certain size, you shouldn't be wearing that. You should have some loose clothes on. I mean, that's almost, I mean, it's. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say without being insulted. So I'll just say I don't think that the clothing matches his body type. If that's all right. But my point is that they're moving him into another level of mainstream. See, the Christians are being moved to mainstream too. Yeah, they are. The Christians is being moved to mainstream too. They're getting them away from sound doctrine and going toward this whatever gospel. Whatever sound good. And you look at TD Jakes, no substance. None whatsoever. T.D. Jakes doesn't have any spiritual substance. None. None whatsoever. And I just want to show you this because I think you should be singing. And I believe you'll be able to discern, right? And I think that's the right wording. You'll be able to discern the quick and the dead, right? Because he's quick, but he's dead. Yes, he's dead. Man is a zombie walking around with anti-black nationalism information in his head. I would love to just get in a conference with him. Just a conference and a debate, just me and him. Just me and him. And put toward the difficult questions to him. The difficult question. Right? And you will see that when you begin to put these hard-hitting, difficult questions toward him, that these ones that the white man has put in front of us know nothing about poverty level. This is the biggest lie in the world. They said that Oprah Winfrey was poor. She stole the life from Maya Angelou. She was never poor. Trying to tell you what they do. I'm trying to tell you what they do. So, T.D. Jakes does not teach salvation. And that's what I want you to know. He doesn't teach salvation. And everybody knows it. You're probably the only one that don't know that he doesn't teach salvation. But everybody else knows. So they begin to listen to him. And as they listen to him, you'll begin to see his membership dwindle. And I pray God that he don't kill himself with a lot of these guys. They will kill themselves if things don't go their way. There was a pastor that was in home with his wife. Both of them had a few choice words. He had children in the car. And he self-destructed. Literally lost it. Because he said his wife didn't believe in him. She didn't trust him. I mean, he absolutely lost it. And he ended up killing her. He didn't shoot the kids. And then he killed himself. Because they were trying to match their life with what it meant. They were pastor and wife. What it means to be leaders in the role and what we want to fulfill. Isn't that right? And so they had to have a discussion on what was necessary in order to get the people out. Right? When this didn't work, stress came on them. Right? And the husband complained to the wife, "You're not listening to me." The wife complained to the husband, other ridicules or whatever. And the next thing we know, you read about it, that the minister had shot his own wife. So you know that was satanic in itself. So to be in those positions means that you have mastered yourself. To be a master teacher means that you have learned mastered lessons. That you have mastered lessons. Is that right or wrong? And no black man should be over people if he's not qualified to do so. Right? And ready to qualify himself to do so. But T.D. Jakes has enough troubles, right? So many troubles that he don't need to be over people. All you have to do is research him. And when he preaches these sermons, brothers and sisters, he don't even mean it. He don't mean it. He teaches these sermons and he don't mean it at all. Don't mean one word. And you haven't, I gave you the link because I wanted you to look into it. So you'll be able to see. It's the reason why I gave you the link. But what I want you to know, and you have to know this, brothers and sisters, if you don't know anything else, you need to know this, that you need to understand that there's an angle for all the black leaders that they have in front of us right now. For those that are Christian and those that are Muslim. They don't care about the others. They really don't. They don't really care about the Hebrew Israelites. They know that they're not doing any organizing on the streets or anything like that. The Christians are organizing on the streets. See, they're organizing. The Nation of Islam the true Nation of Islam is organizing on the streets. But that's why they put Farrakhan in front of you. And if he talks about Farrakhan enough and keep the cameras on Farrakhan, you won't even know anything about the Most Honorable Silas Muhammad. You won't even know anything about it. You want to know anything about Queen Muhammad? You won't know. This is the trick. This is the trick of the white man. You see? And this is the reason that I'm saying this to you today. Is that if you don't get wise to what's going on, then you won't be able to educate all of the rest of them that are under bondage. How many that are under bondage and don't know it, that are oppressed by even religion? Religion, when it's associated with the white man, will oppress you. That's religion. White religion is oppression to you and I. When you look at a white Jesus, that's oppression to you and I. Right? That's oppression. When you got people like T.D. Jakes leaving from here and going over to Nigeria and other places, Gambia and whatnot, and taking this white Jesus with him, you are oppressing people. And brothers and sisters, he paid to do it. He's paid to do it. And he have people thinking that he's honored to be there. He'd be doing it for free. This man has a bio that said he made it driving trucks. Biggest lie ever told. Biggest lie ever told. When you search the real history behind that man. Yeah, search the real history. But they don't want you to do that. Because then the narrative can't go forward. You got to understand that. The white man pushes a narrative forward that you have to follow. He's pushing it in front of the leading black minister in Christianity, which is T.D. Jakes. He does it in the Nation of Islam, the fluke. The fluke in the Nation of Islam, Minister Farrakhan. He don't really have to push it in Hebrew Israelite because they'll shout loud on the corner, but they're not organizing anything. And the man knows it. He already knows it. Right? They'll shout at a certain point, but their part is to build up in the temple. Right? Now they're a mighty army and some tough brothers. Tough brothers. But the white man's not too concerned with them because they won't organize on the streets. They'll spend time debating, but they won't organize on the streets. Mauricelm Templars of America, he's not worried about them either. He's not worried about them. Because, here's the thing. If they're not organized on the street and they don't believe in defending their communities, then you're not getting the attention of this man. And we don't want his attention, but he already knows that we live like dead men already. If you are a nationalist, you already live like you're dead. And if you're dead, you're done. And he understands that. But he has to grab the minds of the other individuals that are in Christianity and otherwise other places, other movements. He has to grab them in order to make them have a distaste for the stand that you and I take as nationalists. And this is how he continued to keep them. T.D. Jakes is one of the biggest tools in the white man's shed. T.D. Jakes is. and if you look at, he looks, I wouldn't be surprised if they got him on Valium. I wouldn't be surprised. He don't talk any religious messages, no real religious messages. He give you these phrases like insight on influence. When surviving isn't safe. These are titles that he has. Timing is everything. Ain't that some old coon talk? All you got to do is wait. All you got to do is wait. He may not come when you want him, but he's be there right on time. He's an on-time God. Yes, he is. All of this foolishness, brothers and sisters. Recognizing God's answers. They're reshaping, rewriting, remolding, re-preaching, re-sermonalizing the truth in the word. And they're reshaping it in your mind. They revise the Bible, now they're revising you. See? You got to understand that. Recognizing God's answers. All of these shallow teaching points. And when you listen to the the speech that he giving, because I can't call it a sermon. When you listen to the speech that he give, then you'll see it's shallow. Because after that, what are you going in the community doing? That's the question. Real men pour in. The grace to make changes. Strengthen what remains. Tomorrow belongs to God. Jesus. I look and just, I don't know, brothers and sisters, and maybe you think, so, well, this brother is always upset. But shouldn't you be upset when you see your black community dying? People dying in the community, and you know that it's a blueprint. You already know there's a blueprint. You already know there's a blueprint. Already know. A literal blueprint. And you can see it. You can see it. But we're too often looking over things. We're too often non-critical. When the word says open rebuke is better than secret love. In other words, if you openly rebuke them, then you've even proved that you love them even deeper than the secret of love. But we will not, time has come when we will not endure sound doctrine, brothers and sisters, and we will have itching ears following, in other words, sermons that we want to hear, right? They tailored the sermons toward us. I mean, they might as well, you got to get your money's worth, right? Yeah, you paying for it. You paying for it. Going to give T.D. Jakes all this money for him to mislead you and keep you in darkness. Yeah, you paying for it. You paying for it. And all behind the scenes, all the false prophets, no matter what religion, they all shaking hands. You did great today, brother. See you Sunday. Let's see how much money you can make Sunday. I believe in you. Brothers and sisters, when will we wake up? When will you and I wake up? When will we wake up? Brothers and sisters, I think I've kicked this horse as long as you could stand seeing me kick it. I just want to go over those things with you so that you'll know that we have to study to show ourselves approved unto God. A workman need not be ashamed, but rightly dividing the word of truth. Follow him in all of your ways, and he will direct thy path. So that means here's the person that is doing. This is in the doing. Brothers and sisters, don't forget, we have the Cash App, putting it down in case you want to do something. And don't forget, at the very top in that link, you can also buy a book if you like. I want to thank you for showing up tonight. It hasn't been long. This itself wasn't very long, but it was certainly strong. I'm sure you would agree. It wasn't long, but it was certainly strong. And I ask you to be encouraged, be steadfast, be unmovable, and always abounding in the work that God has before you and I. That's the key thing. To abound in the work, to feed the hungry, heal the sick, raise the dead, make the lame to walk, the dumb talk, the deaf to hear. That's the fivefold ministry, brothers and sisters. Right? That it would get mind, body, and soul, direction, and objective in your life, that you will prove God, right? Prove God through your lifestyle. Brothers and sisters, I get so happy about it. And when you prove God in your lifestyle, that means that you're starting businesses and all of that. This show here tonight is strictly for black brothers and sisters. It still covers the message to black man, the message to the black Christian tonight, right? Still with the teachings, keeping in with the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, but to the black Christians, we have gathered together, and we've got to come together better than before and see the things that are going on in this world and decide what we're going to do about it. We've got to decide. And we've got to come together while we decide. Because, and I want you to understand this, We look like fools being divided, black people amongst one another. We like fools. Certainly go to the Muslim temples. Certainly go to the Christian churches. Certainly. Certainly go to the Hebrew Israelite temples. Certainly. Certainly. We just look like fools going to our temples and never coming together. If you look at the white man, he always come together. He's always coming together. We've got to come together. And we've got to share some open rebuke of brothers and sisters that are deviating from the teachings, from God's teaching. But we bear witness that there's only one God, right? He has many messengers, and Muhammad is his messenger too. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad had to have received that message from God. You telling a black man to do for himself. Nobody but a God can give you that. Nobody but a God. Well, brothers and sisters, I want to thank you certainly for being here with us. I want to thank you for listening to what I'm rendering you. I pray that I've said something that can help you. That's my desire, my prayer, that I've said something that can help you. So that you and I, brothers and sisters, will walk in the faith with power. Whether we're Christian, whether we're Muslim, whether we're Hebrew Israelite, Mauricelm Temple of America, Church of God in Christ, whatever we may be, Christian, whatever we may be, I pray that I said something to help you, because we know the goal of God is to free us. That's God's goal. So we've got to get in the mind of God in order to accept freedom, accept liberation, accept other than democracy. Because we all know that democracy is hypocrisy. We already know that. So brothers and sisters, thank you again for showing up. Can't thank you enough. And continue to support us, please. Don't let anybody turn you around. Don't let anybody turn you around. Yes, we need your support. We have books that you can get, of course. We have clothing. We have other websites with other products that you can buy or whatever. But please sponsor us. Sponsor us to Cash App. Sponsor us by buying a book. Whatever you decide to do. Whatever you decide to do. And we're thankful. But certainly support us. So we'll be able to continue to keep this message. And all I can do is ask. I love you all together and all the same. If you didn't give me 1 cent, I love you all together and all the same. If you do, just remember that it goes toward our mission. So that we'll be able to help the poor. So we'll be able to feed the sick. Clothe the naked. We'll be able to do these things. Give free mental health to the community. All of these things. All right, brothers and sisters. So I thank you very, very much for showing up. If you have someone beside you, tell that person that you love them. Right? And anybody that you can be at peace with from the black nation, be at peace with them. Be at peace with them and be at peace with all men as much as possible. As much as possible. Brothers and sisters, that's all that I have for you. I want to thank God for you. Thank God for you showing up. And I pray that you will allow God to use you. That you won't be duped, but you'll be working for an almighty God. Brothers and sisters, I say unto you, peace be unto you. If I didn't say it in the beginning, assalamu alaikum.
Hang on to the well as it's begging.